Hello and welcome to the InternView, a series focused on checking in and catching up with Actors Express's interns of the past, present, and future. I am Eliott Grenier, and I am a current Acting Express intern, and today I am joined by our second guest. She was a part of the very beginning of Actors Express's intern program. She's been in many different roles in film and television, is the Playmaking for Girls program director at Synchronicity Theater, and has personally taught me in acting for the camera class, Susie Purcell. Hi, Susie. How are you?
How you doing?
I'm good. So the first question that I asked in my first interview was, how did you even get started in theater? Would you like to tell us a bit about your journey?
Sure. I mean, I got started in theater in first grade. I was the mouse who didn't believe in Santa Claus and the mouse who didn't believe in Santa Claus. Just always had an interest. Playing characters and empathizing with other people. I come from a family of artists in a sense, none of them actors, but visual. And my dad was also a pastor. And so the idea of theater and story was always intriguing to me, and how story can really affect change in people. Like, nobody in my family was an actor, and they were like, okay. I was a little shy at that time, but that didn't stick, the shyness. Yeah.
How did you first hear about Actors Express? So you were part of the first intern program. So this is all basically brand new at the time.
Well, Chris Coleman actually was a family friend, and we grew up in the same area in Dunwoody together. And I was very involved. Chris's mom, Annette Coleman, and dad, Wayne Coleman, were actors. And she ran a really amazing theater group at the church that I grew up in. And we put on huge summer productions, huge, Fiddler on the Roof, Sound of Music. And so I did that with her, and she trained me growing up. From a very, very young age, probably fourth grade, I started working with her, and she was a really amazing actress herself, and lovely director. So that's how I got to know Chris.
What point were you called an intern? You know, did it just kind of roll into it and you're like, yeah, that's what I am? Or was it something more designed and then you took on the...
I think it's a long-standing tradition in theaters to have interns.
Mm-hmm.
So he wanted to start that. I know the Alliance Theater had a very formalized one, and so I knew a lot of those people as well, but I chose to go with Chris. He just kind of reached out mostly to me and Al, I believe. We had done some shows with him, and he asked if we wanted to intern.
Who was Chris in relation to Actors Express?
Started Actors Express.
There we go. Well, then there you...
Yeah, Chris Coleman's amazing. He is now the artistic director of Denver Performing Arts Center. Before that, he was in Seattle at Portland Stage. And before that, I think was Atlanta. So yeah, Chris was a young actor who went to Baylor and had a bunch of friends from Baylor who were actors. And he wanted to start a theater company. He's a absolutely incredible director. I think Freddie knows him. We all know him well. So he started Actors Express in the basement of a church in Chamblee.
What was your experience like to become an intern at this newly found theater?
It was great. It was amazing. I was completely 100% immersed in theater. I was working in the daytime at an advertising agency in the marketing department, and then was doing theater, and I was writing grants. I had never written a grant before. I didn't even know what a grant was really, and I was typing grants, 20 copies on a typewriter, and a lot of whiteout was used, but it was amazing. I was involved in every production. It wasn't as segmented or organized, I guess, as the intern program is right now. You just did everything, you know.
Somebody had a problem and they're like, here, come give me a hand.
Exactly. And we had gotten a new space when we came on. They had just taken over space on Elizabeth Street, which used to be Dad's garage. where Dad's Garage used to be, Elizabeth Street in Inman Park. So it went from the church to there. And so, they needed a lot of help. And I was in shows as well, and that was fabulous. Yeah, my favorite was Caucasian Chalk Circle. That was amazing.
Yeah, did you understudy a lot as an intern there, or did you do main stage roles?
Main stage, yeah. There were no understudies. Yeah.
So then you've got all of these experiences, a lot of firsts. What was it like when it got towards the end?
The end, because I just stayed with Actors Express, and then I think I was the development director for a while. I can't even remember. Short period, but everything was volunteer. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't an intern, but I was still volunteering and doing everything.
At what point did you, you obviously still teach classes at Actors Express, so you've kind of become a part of the blood of the theater. Mm-hmm. But you went off and did a lot of your own projects.
Yeah. But while I had finished the internship, then I decided to take some parts with the Alliance Theater. So I started doing a lot of work there in the children's theater, acting, and we would go on tour. We'd also have the stage, and then I was still doing plays at night at Actors Express. So then I quit my day job and I became an actress. I mean, a full-time actor.
How was that experience, right? Like, what happened when you realized you could finally be a professional actor?
It was pretty cool. I remember working at the advertising agency, and my dad came and had lunch with me. I asked my dad to come and have lunch, and we were sitting outside eating lunch, and I said, so I'm gonna quit this job because I got another job, but no insurance or anything, and he was supportive, but I vividly remember making that step of being an actor without insurance, but getting paid to be an actress. Started doing film work at that point. So.
And what was that experience like when I know that there's a lot of struggle when you're trying to find roles, and like you taught us in our class is that you might fire 100 shots at these different roles and only land one. What was that like when you started feeling success?
Atlanta was very different as far as the film scene at that time. There was a lot of industrial work here. Like you did a lot of industrials, a lot of company videos and company live shows, and that was a big thing here. And then there was some work that we would always have to travel to Wilmington. Sorry, we'd have to travel. So there was some work, and we would have to travel to Wilmington to do that. And I started booking a lot of that work. There was also a couple of shows out of Conyers. So that was pretty cool. Yeah, I started booking work. I was with the People Store, and that was wonderful because I was able to, in addition to doing theater, support myself doing that.
So this isn't really kind of the same thing as I've asked other interns, because the program kind of had a hard stop date. So for you, it was more of just a part of your journey. Did you think that your time there was well spent?
Oh yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing to get at that point, it was a very well-rounded experience. Mm-hmm. Even though I'd had some of that in college where you did everything, to put on the show. I think that working with Chris was just dynamic, and anyone that will tell you who worked with Chris, it's just dynamic. Yeah. So learning, taking classes with him, being directed by him in the Bacchae and Light Up the Sky and so many other plays. Got some really incredible insight, and he trained a lot of Atlanta actors.
Yeah, it's like kind of has an echoing effect too, because then people he's trained have trained me, which is cool to think about.
As I used in our class, I learned from him. He had learned at Carnegie Mellon.
Catching us now up to the current, what was your most recent project? Would you like to talk about anything cool you've been working on?
Yeah, well, I have a lot of different feelers in the education theater world and in social justice kind of theater world in a sense, and in the actual theater or film world. Because when I left Atlanta, I went to LA and I was there 10 years. And then that took me, I understudied a show at the Amundsen, a new Neil Simon piece at the Amundsen. And then that took me to the Kennedy Center. And then that took me to the Music Box on Broadway. So I was in New York for a little while doing that. Then decided I did not want to go back to LA. I mean, I went back to LA for just a very short period of time. I was doing a lot of film work at that time in LA, but I was just ready to leave, and I came back to Atlanta. And when I got back to Atlanta, I did main stage Crimes of the Heart at the Alliance Theater with Susan, and then actually met Rachel May doing Spain at Actors Express. And I met Rachel, and she is the artistic director for Synchronicity Theater Company, and we immediately hit it off. And while I had been in LA, when I didn't do any theater in LA, well, I did do one play in LA, but mostly it was film and television. And I also worked with a company called the Unusual Suspects Theater Company. And so that's when I started doing a lot of teaching. And I worked with boys who were incarcerated, all for murder. And we went in, a bunch of writers and actors, we went in and worked and helped the guys write a full-length play and perform it while they were incarcerated. Then that work started extending to kids in group homes in like South Central LA. And so when I moved back to Atlanta, I was really sad to leave that part. I had grown so much as a person and as an artist, and how I saw theater just open up hearts and minds and doors and lives of people when they were able to get out of their own way. So,
holy cow!
So then I came back and I started working with Rachel. They had just started the Playmaking for Girls program.
So you have done a million things, and it's so powerful to hear how you've used your talent and your abilities and your knowledge to help people. What were some highs and lows? I mean, were you always confident moving in through all of this, or were there some moments of insecurity? How did you power through?
Honestly, what makes an actor more compelling is that we do address that insecurity that we all have always, right? And so we're able to tap in and so we're able to tap into that, but not necessarily live in it full time. So yeah, that's just a balancing part of my life. So about ways, let's see. Yeah, when I went into the prison in South Central, when I started doing that, it was like, you're just a little white girl and you're telling me I got to stand up and pass the clap and, E-clap, what are you talking about? And it was, yeah, so there were some moments you had these big guys and they were like, what are you talking about? But, worked through it, and it was pretty amazing when you just are able to communicate, and using theater games to get there. It's pretty cool to see people's walls come down. So yeah, that was a little insecure, like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? And then moving to LA and being in the film, having been raised, raising myself in the theater for so many years, it's just different muscles. And I didn't have a lot of mentors that I went to discuss the difference of how I take my work from the stage to the camera. So that's one of the reasons I teach this on-camera class, because I know what my struggle was changing the medium.
Wow.
And so it's a lifelong lesson and process.
My final question then, I think that you're probably going to have the best bird's eye view out of anyone I ask this, but as you've seen interns come in from years of teaching or being or in the community, have you seen Actors Express interns change?
Oh yeah, it's been really exciting to see more interns in the fabric of Atlanta, not just become part of the internship and then leave, but really become a fabric and become leaders in Atlanta's theater community. That's been very exciting to watch.
Well, thank you so much, Susie. I really appreciate you. And is there any parting words that you have for anybody?
So I just want to say thank you to Freddie for keeping the program going and so strong, for keeping the theater going. And I see Chris's footprints all over the work he does. I also want to thank Chris for starting Actors Express, and want to thank so many of the board members of Actors Express that I've known over the years, and your constant support of Actors Express and of the Atlanta Theater Company is just really amazing. And it gives me hope in times like these that there are people like you out there.
Thank you so much, Susie. I appreciate you.
Appreciate you too.